Zibby Owens, the
Alisha
OG
Fernandez Miranda.
the OG podcaster of my life. You're the first and still pretty much only podcast I listen to. That includes my own. Welcome to Extra Shot.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
How is your summer going? We are recording this in the summertime. Got 4 kids. Do you love it? Do you love the summer, having all the kids at home, or do you count down the days till September? I vacillate back and forth.
I love the summer. I really love it. I wait all year for it. It's going by too quickly. I was just saying to the kids the other day, it's so nice because when we go out of New York City for the summer, and at nights there's no distractions. I don't go anywhere. I just hang out with the kids. I don't know, maybe I'm just lame in the summer, but I don't know.
I feel like the summer it feels like the time where I get to know my kids the best after the intensity of the school year. And so much of the school year is just about getting from point A to point B and doing the thing that needs to be done and managing and shuffling. And then we have these lazy times in the summer where we can just have a conversation. And that's my favorite thing. That and not waking up to take the kids to school are my 2 favorite things about summer vacation.
It is so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice. A little bit less stress.
And that is definitely worthwhile. So you have a lot going on in your life, in your professional life. You've been publishing books since February. I heard the first one was fantastic.
It was like a blockbuster. I loved the author so much. She reminds me of you. I don't know. It's crazy.
Very similar. That's such a high compliment. Thank you. And you've done some pretty incredible podcast interviews this year with rock star authors. And so are you having pinch me moments? Have those been happening since you started publishing? What have those been for you? Those incredible moments where you're I can't believe I get to do this.
I had a pinch me moment the other day seeing your book in the airport, which I had not expected. I was my husband Kyle was all right, well, you want to wander around Book Soup? Maybe your books are going to be here. I was no, our books aren't going to be here. It's fine. No big deal. And then I walked in, I was
also a pinch me moment for me.
Yeah. I was first I saw Hedge on the table, and then I turned around to say something, and then there was your book on the wall. Anyway, that was so amazing. Sometimes I know if this, that, or the other thing is coming, this site, it was just so great. And just having wider distribution and having everything catch on. We just posted they will be filled by the time this aired, but 2, junior level positions at the company, and the quality of applications we're getting is so amazing.
Wow.
So it's just really wonderful. So those are some great moments. And then of course the guests that I get are wonderful. This morning I interviewed Lisa C., whose book Snowflower and the Secret Fan I read forever and a year ago, and that was amazing. And so we talked about the new book, but I don't know, just every day it's so fun. I'm interviewing Matthew McConaughey. I got Cody for you, Alisha. We're going to interview him together at some point.
I can't. I'll need to. That's Cody Rigsby of Peloton fame. So now that this is recorded in the podcast, it's going to have to happen. Basically,
no, it's happening. I feel like they sent over dates or something. So yeah, you are
so
doing it.
Cool. And you spoke to John Irving not that long ago, right? That amazing.
That was also amazing. I'm how does he just have his name up on Zoom? John Irving is in the waiting room. I'm seriously? John Irving is a legend. He can't just be on Zoom. How can it's so yeah. These things happen a lot. It's just crazy and wonderful.
It's something though I love about you is that you are such a fan of books. When you love a book, you really love a book. You're effusive about it. There's no, you do interviews every day of the year. You're reading submissions. You're reading so much. And yet you still find stuff that you're just I love this book so much. I want to tell everybody in the world about it. And you post about it sometimes on Instagram. What is it in a book that makes you just think, God, I'm not tired of this at all. I'm so glad I get to do this for my job.
Oh, there's so much.
Mm.
The writing is great. Something about the plot. I don't know. I can usually tell though in the first few pages, not to make snap judgments or anything, but I really have to be drawn in. Sometimes I wonder if I had got pitched now some of the books that have been my favorites over the years, would I have the patience to go in? Because I don't have a lot of time. Sometimes I cover the books, but I don't always read. I can't read all the books. I do
of course.
Books. But I'm like, would I have taken the time to read? I don't know.
That's so interesting, actually, because you do kind of have to think about that now that you are making those decisions and putting out books, right? So
Yeah.
that would be so interesting to think about, like the summaries of books that you've loved are these things that you would have gone further in. Huh.
Yeah.
Do you think you might not have?
No, not to publish, just to read.
Just to
Like,
read.
would I, because sometimes I can't like spend a month on a book anymore. And I miss that. I really do. But I don't know. Trade-offs.
I just read Yellowface. I'm not sure if you've
I
read
have
it.
to read that. No, I have to.
You do have to read
I
it.
know.
But that was an example of a book that is so not my typical fare. And I have just heard so many good things about it. And the author is going to be at the Edinburgh Book Festival this summer. And I'm going to see her. I'm covering the book festival for Zibby Mag, which is going to be amazing. So, cool. So I was like, I should probably read her book because, I'm going to go see her talk. And it was one of those just beautiful surprises. And that's what I love. Like I picked it, I had zero expectations and I was like, this is not a rom-com or a fantasy with dragons, which are like basically my two favorite genres of reading. What is this book even going to be about? And it was just so good. And I love that feeling. I think no matter how many times it happens, I'm still surprised by reading something like blows me away. You have got to read that book though. It is.
I know. I have it. I know. Usually I read for deadlines. Like I read based on my calendar when things are coming up. And if they're not scheduled, I wait. But this is stupid. I just have to skip the line and read this book.
It's such a skewering of publishing in such a, it's just great. High recommend to anybody who is looking for it. So now you are also a bookstore owner.
I am.
How is Zibby's Bookshop doing?
Zibby's Bookshop is great.
Yeah.
It's in Santa Monica. There was no bookstore in Santa Monica. It was so awesome. It is so awesome. But I just found out yesterday they're opening a Barnes & Noble on the Santa Monica Promenade on 3rd Street, which is not that far away. We're on 11th Street. So I don't know. I'm going to be living out my own You've Got Mail moment. But hopefully, the great authors and publicists and publishers will still send their books to my store. And my store is all about community. And it's a very different model anyway. So not exactly trying to compete. And also the 3rd Street Promenade is super touristy and everything. But hopefully it won't really crush us. But I'm loving doing it. I love our team there. Our team is so great.
Yeah.
Like I had no expectations. I think this is the secret to life is low expectations in every arena because it's
you heard it here first, guys.
I was like, I hope that we find people who can be good booksellers. And it never occurred to me like I'm going to assemble a team of people who I love and who are now like really good friends with their own community, taking over their lives for the store. I mean, it's like a sitcom going on. So amazing. That's really great. It's been an unexpected joy.
That's why though the bookstore is going to be fine because, we had a similar thing happen when I was in high school or college and I was working at Books and Books in Miami and they opened a Barnes and Noble just a block or two away on Miracle Mile. And You've Got Mail was already out at the time. So of course everybody was like, ah! And the community was rallying around and there was a real fear because Books and Books had been there for, at that point, 20 some odd years. But it was such a place of community for people. It's amazing to see now how much that store has like grown and thrived. But like that real fear, it never turned out to be founded. The Barnes and Noble is also still there. And there's an even bigger Books and Books. And I'm guessing there's just enough book loving to go around. I'm hoping that's what happens in Santa Monica too.
I think so too.
And are you back and forth a lot between LA and New York?
It depends on sort of the seasons with the kids.
You call yourself bi-coastal?
I don't. I don't use that word. But I say that I spend a lot of time in LA, which is true. This summer in particular, I have 2 8-day stretches. One already happened and one is coming up when the kids will all be on assorted programs and camps and things. So that's really nice. I like when I can have a minute to settle in. I'm basically finding everywhere I go that is not New York City, I feel much calmer. So
really?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm so calm in LA. I'm so calm on Long Island.
That's not what you usually hear about LA. So I'm glad to hear that. People are like, LA, it's so stressful. There's so much traffic.
No, because I stay like on the west side of LA and I don't even get on the highway that much and the freeway, whatever. So, yeah.
I asked you when I interviewed you for Quit Your Day Job, which was now well over a year ago, I think, about if you would choose LA over New York or New York over LA. And you said you were a born and bred New Yorker. always New York. Do you think that is still the case?
I think I'm going to amend that answer. Edit. I think that I will, to the extent that I can continue flying and make this work, I will continue being in both places because I need the energy of New York to counteract the lower sort of speed. So, but I think as my kids get older, I will be spending a lot more time there, particularly because my husband Kyle's production company is there. But I just opened an office in New York City, so I think we'll be back and forth. I think I just love having all of the inputs. You know, it's like similar to the job. Like I don't like just doing one thing. I like going to a lot of places, having a lot of kids, doing a lot of jobs. Like I don't know. There's something wrong with me, I guess.
I like how you looped in doing a lot of jobs with having a lot of kids.
But it's true. It's like the multitasking, you know, like I like having a lot of different things going on at the same time.
I love the variety. I actually think it was during COVID when we were in lockdown. That was the thing I missed the most. I couldn't stand being in one place. And I was in the Isle of Skye. It was beautiful. We were safe. We had a lot of space, but I just, I missed all the things. And that is what I love the extremes. And I love having the opportunity to do many different things. Like, I was telling you just before we started recording, I was up till 3 a.m. last night, which is not something that I typically do. And then I've got a weekend ahead where I will probably just be hanging out with the kids and like not leave the house for 48 hours. But I feel like I need that in my life. Like I need both of those things to be a happy, well-rounded person. And I need, well, as you well know, many different internships and jobs and lots of well, because that is what keeps me happy. So
where are you interning this year? What are you going to do?
Man, I was just having this conversation last night because I really want to do a marine biology internship. I have an itch to do that. And there is like an institute that is not so far from Edinburgh. It's in St. Andrews. So it's maybe like an hour and a bit away. But the water is very cold up here. And even in the summer, if I'm getting in, it is, I do it. I swim, but it's not Miami temperatures.
Yeah.
So that is a consideration. But also I think it's a little bit, I had so much momentum when I was doing it, in my what if year period. And now there's always kind of reasons like, oh, well, I could do this, but we're going to be away this week. I would really love to do more. Let's say I'm interning as a journalist for Zibby Mag at the book festival. Cause maybe that's my little internship.
Yes. Entertainment reporting.
What would you do if you could do any internship? What would you do?
I wouldn't mind like working at a restaurant. I've never done that.
Really? Like not when you were younger, nothing like that.
No, all my jobs when I was younger revolved around kids. Babysitter, mother's helper, camp counselor, like, after school, I even worked at like a hospital in the new baby unit. Like it revolved around kids.
Yeah.
Or writing. And so I just never worked in the restaurant world. And I'm fascinated by it. And now, of course, I'm watching The Bear like everybody else in the world. And I don't know. I
haven't seen it yet. I really want to watch it.
I just started it. It's intense. It's like totally intense. So I feel like I might want to just see what that's all about.
When Carlos eventually opens his ramen restaurant, you can come we'll give you a stage. They call it, it's like an internship in the restaurant industry.
Perfect.
I'll hire you.
If you open a ramen restaurant, you might have to give an internship to my 8-year-old who's like obsessed with ramen.
Perfect. So you just got back from Japan, right? How was your trip?
We did. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was, again, planned by my 8-year-old, who's like, a 50-year-old guy trapped in the body of an 8-year-old. So we did a lot of the Pokemon things that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then we scattered in a lot of other things. And then while we were there, planned a 1-night trip to Kyoto because everyone's like, you have to go. And then I was like, okay, you know what? We've done enough here in Tokyo. I think we can fit it in. So I just booked us on the bullet train. It was good. I think the best was just having us all see what it feels like to be the person on the outside, not understanding the language, being in a new place, seeing how much it matters when the people who live there are kind and understanding and accepting, and how it is not always that way in the United States, and like what part we can play to make it easier for people. So I think just as an exercise in empathy, it was really great.
It's pretty extraordinary to be able to take your kids so far out of their comfort zone. And I remember when we went to Tokyo, it was 2018 and the twins were 6.5, I think. And, the flight is long and my kids were still getting plane sick on every flight at the time. They don't do that anymore.
Oh no.
So we arrived like, shells of people, and we got into a taxi at the train station. And before the taxi started moving, my daughter just said, I'm going to be sick. And she just opened the car door and threw up outside the car door. Okay. And Japan is like a real, people are very clean. It's very clean. Like it's like not a throw up on the street kind of place. And I was mortified because I was like, oh my God, this taxi driver is going to kick us out. People are going to be horrified by us. And instead, like 6 people came over to offer help. Did we need, so a woman pulls out some tissues from her purse. Another woman is writing down in Japanese the name of a like motion sickness medicine, or, everybody just like rallied in to help. And it was so touching because here we were, we knew nothing. We knew no one, we didn't speak the language, and everyone, and here is like a gross, kid throwing up at the side of a car.
Oh man.
Everybody just rallied, and it was like such a beautiful thing. I mean, we saw many beautiful things in Japan that were not my daughter puking, but that was a really beautiful moment. I'm so glad your kids got to experience that and that they loved it.
Yeah, it was really nice for them. Awesome.
So you have just celebrated the book birthday of Bookends. Happy book birthday, right? That was a few weeks ago.
Yes, I did.
Is there, when you think about that memoir, is there anything you would have done differently? Things you would have included or excluded? Or did you just, when it was out, it was done and you just were able to kind of move on from it?
I wish I had included more books. I have a book.
More books. There's so many books in that book.
I know, but still, I'm like, there's so many more books that I loved growing up or in my adult life before the book that I didn't include. So I've had some like, oh, why didn't I include that book in the reading list moments? But in terms of the story, no, it is what it is. And I feel good about it. Would I have done things differently? No, I guess it came out when it needed to come out. I feel like I should probably still be marketing it, but I'm not. But I don't know.
That's like a very healthy attitude. And in fact, we had this conversation the other day with a couple of the Zibby booksellers about whether or not you read your reviews. Did you read reviews of Bookends when it came out? Like Goodreads, Amazon, blah, blah, blah.
So Kyle and I had an afternoon where he read me a lot of the reviews out loud.
Only the good one. Only the good ones. Did you like filter for the 5 stars?
No, they were the bad ones. They were the bad ones too. Or did I read them to him? I don't know. We were like sitting side by side and we were like, we're going to allocate this time to the reviews and then not read them again. And that's what we did. So we just I just never went back. Although I happened to be on Goodreads today, like posting in the blog function or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, this rating is not very good, but I can't worry about it. Cause I had some people just couldn't relate and were like, I'm just going to give it a bad rating. Cause I can't relate to you or whatever, which is totally, whatever. People have their own issues. So, I don't know. So basically, no, I don't. And I don't recommend reading reviews. I recommend having somebody who cares about you sending an occasional nice review or two your way, and then otherwise just forgetting about the whole thing. I will say though that I wish I had maybe had more people read it ahead of time, or maybe I don't know, where you can do something about it, but now you can't. When it's out, there's nothing you can do.
So. Oh, like before it was kind of in the, not like people reading arcs and reviewing, but actually like before when you were still drafting it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not. So
it's tough. I've read almost none of my reviews at all, which makes me an anomaly among the Zibby Books authors, because
why are they all reading their reviews?
I think most authors that I've talked to like can't help but read their reviews, the good and the bad ones. But I definitely don't want to read the bad ones.
Well,
I can't change the book. It's done. So really whatever they want to say is it's too late now. And
I recently read reviews of my podcast, which I had never read before. And most of them were nice, but one or two were so mean. I could not stop crying.
That's
and I'm
awful.
I can't, I'm too sensitive for this. I just can't do it.
Can you imagine ever writing something like that? Like I can't even give someone a 4-star on Goodreads. If I didn't like the book that much, I just don't give it a rating because I can't imagine doing that. I cannot imagine doing that.
Yep.
But I think it's part of this world. And it's really, really hard.
Well, I would be surprised if you didn't have great ratings because I thought your book was great.
Well, thank you. But whether I do or not, I'll never know. Sometimes Carlos goes and reads them and he'll send me good ones only. but I really have no desire. I really have no desire to know what people have
Yeah.
to say, especially if they didn't like it. I think
Yeah.
it's better that way. But
Yeah.
you're not giving up on writing. You have a new book coming out in the spring.
I do.
What can you tell us about your life as a novelist?
Oh my gosh. I hope people like it. I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I keep just being like, "Are you sure this is okay? Are you sure this is okay?" But I keep changing it. Like I had my final round of copy edits come in, and I just like rewrote the whole thing. I
Oh
went
my
through like
God.
every single sentence. I know. I just can't help myself. So, and that required like, and I had a week to do it. So I woke up like every
Oh,
day at
wow.
4 for a week because my kids were here and they weren't in camp that week, and um, yeah, so that was kind of a thing. But um it's called Blank. It's supposed to come out on March 5th, but we might change the date, March 5th,
Mhm.
2024. And it's about a former best-selling author living in LA with 2 kids, who was 2/3 of the way done with her next book. And then like the biggest author in the world went on the equivalent of GMA and did their big cover reveal. And here's the book. And it was the same title and the same topic. So she had to toss her whole book. And the book then takes place over 6 days in LA, when she finds out on a Monday morning that she has to have her draft in by Friday, or they're going to take the advance back, which she already spent decorating her pantry and making it into an office. And so that night at dinner, she's talking to her son because she keeps staring at the blank page over and over and over again. And he says, "Well, why don't you just hand it in blank?" And she says, "Oh my gosh, that is the best idea. It'll be a commentary on the publishing industry, and I'll try to make it a bestseller without even having a word inside." And that's what happens.
Okay, I love this. So you first of all,
That's
now
the
you
premise
really
of
have
the
to
book.
read Yellowface, but that is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Has this
And then of course,
changed? Was there an amnesia piece to this book before?
no
No.
amnesia.
Okay.
So it starts there, but it's really about her and her 3 best friends. It's about her being a mom. It's about her difficult relationship with her husband and her mom, and just getting through the day. And she has this like secret thing on the side with like this private Instagram account that blows up. And I don't know, it's amusing. And I don't even know where all the plot came from. There's like a lot of twists, and I almost gave it up. And then over Thanksgiving, I was like telling my whole family about what it is about, because I was like, I think I'm just going to scrap it. I just don't have time to do this. And then I was describing the plot, and I was like, I don't remember how I came up with this, but you know what? I'm going to keep going.
Did you find it more difficult to write a novel than to write your memoir?
Totally different.
Because you write a lot of you before bookends, you had written a lot of personal essays, a lot about yourself and your own life.
I've
So,
written a number of novels as well.
oh right, okay,
So, but I am not. I mean, I'm not like, I would never think of myself as a novelist. Like, it sounds so lofty. Like, I've written a novel.
I get it. But
Maybe
you're gonna have a published novel, so you're gonna be a novel. You are a
but
novelist.
I feel like novelist is so like literary and, implies like dozens of novels, So I think, my novel is fun, and um, I don't know. I have all these ideas for other books, so I'm
Yeah,
just like keeping them written down, but I don't know. It was much harder. I think it was
yeah.
much harder to write a novel than to write.
I agree. By the way,
Yeah,
for you,
you just finished a novel. Tell me about that. What was that
well,
like for
I
you?
did so many drafts. I found it was really hard. The hardest thing for me was to get outside of my own head and inhabit someone else's consciousness. I just feel like that was really difficult for me. And I am a total in the pantser plotter dichotomy. I'm like 100% a plotter. No surprise there. Like, as a person who is very controlling, I don't know if you are the same, but this idea of just, it was like exercising a creative muscle that I had not used in a really long time, or maybe
Mhm.
ever. And
Mhm.
that was really challenging. I found that part the most challenging of it. Like, coming up with fun ideas for the plot, that was fine. And even the writing, I actually like really enjoyed, but it was the inhabiting another character. And that I found that really tough. I have a lot of, well, I already had a lot of respect for novelists and actors and people who do that for a living, but I have even more now.
Yeah, me too.
So the book is out, the company is buzzing. What is next for you besides all those wonderful things?
Um, I don't know. I'm just right now I'm focused on sort of this rebrand, not rebrand, but really consolidating Zibby Media into the consumer facing piece so that everything sort of integrates more. I'm focused on growth and like getting everything to grow. I'm focused on figuring out how to integrate launching a book with running a company and having and have my name on the company and my name on the book, and everybody being like, "Are you publishing the book?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." So even today, my son was like, "Wait, did you get paid to write that book?" And I was like, "Yes, I got." Why? And he's like, "Why did they pay you?" And I was like, "Because I wrote a book." So uh, I'm working on all of that,
Yeah.
sort of branding and messaging, but I find that really fun. And my favorite sort of pastime is messing around with websites. And so we have this new website that I've just taught myself how to use, this whole new program. And so we're trying to finalize that. And I actually find that like very therapeutic and really fun to do. So looking forward to having our new Zibby Media website up very soon.
Can't
And
wait.
then who
Hopefully
knows,
it'll be
next
up.
year, I don't know.
I hope it'll be up by this airs, but maybe Zibby software development or website design is like going to be next in your.
No. It's not. It's not. No, it's not coming next.
Oh, well, I can't wait for one to see where you're going. I hope I get to come along for the ride. And thank you so much, Zibby, for being on the podcast.
Well, congratulations on the podcast. I'm honored that you had me on, and I always love talking to you.
I love an excuse to talk to you too.